Hey, Chris from the Mighty Decibel here. Welcome back. This episode, we're going to be determining which 10 bands had the best discographies from the 70s. So rules of engagement here can only be studio albums that were issued in the 70s. So no live, no compilations, no cover albums, that sort of thing. And the way I approached this was mathematically. So what I did was I I scored 1 out of 10 albums that were issued by major bands in the 70s, compiled their totals, and then came up with an average for each of those bands. And what came up was that there were only 10 bands that had an average of 8 or more. So luckily it fit in with our top 10 here. So without further ado, let's get into it. So right off the bat, we have a tie at number 10. Two bands coming in with an average score of 8.08. And the first one we're going to cover here is Canada's Rush. So in the 70s, the band issued their first 7 albums. So this goes from their self-titled debut, which was more of a hard rock, traditional hard rock, heavy metal album, right through to Hemispheres, when of course during that period they got more proggy. So easily the best decade of the band's repertoire, in my opinion. So this is the period where they're at their heaviest, less keyboardy, and Lee was hitting all those impossibly high notes. The other band that came in at number 10 with a similar score of 8.08 was rock and roll icons, the Rolling Stones. So the Stones issued 6 albums in the 70s, including Sticky Fingers, XL on Main Street, and personal fave, Some Girls. So this is prime and primed rock and roll for the band, easily the best of their repertoire. Classic stuff here. Coming in at number 8 are Aussie legends ACDC with an average score of 8.2. So, of course, their last 3 albums of the decade, Let There Be Rock, Powerage, and Highway to Hell, are beyond classic stuff. Unfortunately, their first 2 albums bring down the average score. They came in at an 8.2. But regardless, those final 3, that's the cream of the ACDC recorded discography, in my opinion. The band only able to hit perfection one more time after the 70s, that being Flick of the Switch. Coming at number 7 on our list are God's Led Zeppelin with an average score of 8.67. So they're very lucky that their first 2 albums, inferior albums, were created in the 60s, so they didn't count on their marks here. So this run includes the records 4 and Physical Graffiti, 2 of the most coveted early metal albums of all time. And additionally, there's the underrated Houses of the Holy and tied at number 7 with Led Zeppelin, having the same 8.67 average, is Motorhead. So in this case, they just came under the bar here with 3 albums issued in the 70s, but 2 of them just happened to be the amazing Overkill and Bomber records, with the self-titled debut bringing down the average a little bit. But regardless, these albums are seen as integral in the creation of a number of the extreme metal underground genres. Sabbath surprisingly come in at number 5. Before tabulating the totals, I assumed that they would be at or near the top. However, the 4 albums that bookend their 70s output, the 2 at the beginning and 2 at the end, you know which ones they are, brought down their average, and the 4 in the middle, of course, are all perfect 10s. Punk rock originators, the Ramones, come in at number 4 with an average score of 8.75. They issued their first 4 albums in the 70s, the self-titled debut, Leave Home, Rocket to Russia, and Road to Ruin, all of them classic, and basically set the punk rock blueprint right there.
Well, I'm against it. I'm against it. Well, I'm against it. I'm against it. I don't like politics. I don't like communists. I don't like indifference. I don't like anyone. And I'm against it. I'm against it. Well, I'm against it. I'm against it. I don't like Judas Priest. I don't like circus schemes. I don't like.
Coming in at number 3 are Boston's Aerosmith with an average score of 8.83, landing higher on the list than I originally anticipated, thinking originally that the first few albums might bring down the average, but here is a case where consistency of quality wins out the day. So they had 8 albums issued in the 70s, and included in them Toys in the Attic, Rocks, Draw the Line, and Night in the Ruts. No wonder they ruled the outdoor festival circuit at the time.
Johnny come back on Saturday night, thinking how to go back to the boogie at the house of the light, where the steal the show. Money comes sour, but the ladies are sweeter. It's a love affair.
final two bands are the only ones to be able to score an average of 9 or higher. And coming in at number 2 is the band I thought originally getting into this would land at number 1, Judas Priest, with a perfect score of 9. Now, this was definitely a case where one album bringing down the average. We've got 5 albums here, 4 of them perfect 10s, but that debut, Rock-a-Rolla, brought down the average to a 9. So we're down to the number 1 discography of the 70s, and somewhat surprisingly, it's Ted Nugent. So similar to the Aerosmith situation, it's a case of consistency of quality here, as the Nuge issued only 5 albums that decade, but all of them were classic, high-quality stuff, hence his average coming out to be 9.2. Well, that was fun for me and enlightening, so much so that I'm planning to follow up with an 80s episode and then later on a 90s. Anyway, thanks for joining us, and remember to check in on Monday for our next New Release Monday podcast, where we're going to be looking at the best extreme metal albums of April 2021, of course. And check out our website, www.themightydecibel.com. Have a great one.